We're live.
All right, Barb?
All right. Sherry? Yeah. Tom?
Yep.
Ernie?
Hey.
I'm here. KK?
Yep.
Steve? Oh, sorry. Beth?
Yep.
And Richard?
We have two new board members. We have Michael Hensley.
Yep.
And Robert Sarter, who's the new athletic director at Sandusky High School. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad to have you guys. We're going to take a moment of silence for Larry Wren, who passed away a couple weeks ago, probably about 3 weeks
The
ago.
15th of
So,
July.
lifetime member of Mills Creek, and been on the board for probably about 5 years, I'm thinking. So, yeah, take a moment of silence for Larry, please. Okay.
Great guy for sure.
Yes. Looking over July's minutes. Any corrections, deletions? Not any motions?
I move we accept.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
We have no guests. Jason, you're up first.
Yes, Ryan is finishing up day 3 of Safety Town. And as you've probably seen, we've had a lot of stuff going on in this part of August. So at the golf course, the bridge, I believe, I want to say the foundations are in. They've been working every day out there, but you've probably been golfing by there, so you could probably tell me different. But so that golf course bridge is pretty far underway, and then there'll probably be a press release coming out soon about that restoration project that we have going on with Erie Soil and Water for it's the off-season project that we have. It's almost $1 million of investment into the shoreline, or some of the shoreline in there, and making more of a wetlands, restoring the wetlands that were there probably many years ago, and making sure that we can keep some of the erosion issues that we've had at some of the holes from getting any more progression on those. So that should be released here soon. I think they have some final drawings coming out, and then that project starts around October-ish. We're trying to avoid most of the golf season for that project. So some exciting stuff at the golf course. And we got some of the major leaks fixed over there with the irrigation system. We had a contractor come in, fix those, because the pump wouldn't run without having the pressure that we needed. So the saga continues with our irrigation system at the golf course, but we're making progress, and hopefully we'll have that working to where we don't have to manually turn it on in all the different spots. We can just have the timers go when they're supposed to, and then when the power goes out at some point, the timers will be off, so they'll turn on when the golfers are out there, I'm sure at some point. But looking forward to having that. So any questions on Mills Creek Golf Course?
Okay, so youth program updates. All right, summer break camp is over. It ended August 1st. After 8 weeks, we did our final field trip out to Maple Crest Horse Farms. We took the kids out there. We had 4 successful field trips during the 8 weeks, and they all were about 50, 60 kids each. First of all, I forgot to say welcome to Robert and Mike onto the board. So, and Mike, we actually went out to Erie Metro Parks, to the Nature Center with one of our field trips, which was amazing. Love what you guys do out there, and I love that you are well-known in our building with our kids. So yeah, our 8 weeks are up, and now we're into next week starts our mini camp. We got a grant to do a 3-day camp called Kicking It at Mills. That registration was up to 50 kids, and it filled up within hours. And that was just going to be 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, no, it's 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week from 11 to 1. That makes it a mini, because it's not a full 4-hour camp. Right now we have 55 kids for that. So this is the little break that we get before we ramp up to fall out of school, which is right around the corner. The registration for the September out of school at Mills is August 20th for anyone that is listening. Every 20th of the month, you have to register for the following month in order to.
What day was that?
August 20th.
Okay.
So set your phones, the reminder, and this is up to over 100 kids, but that fills up within 24 hours. So have your finger on the dial August 20th to sign up for out of school at Mills for September, and every 20th after that for each month. Yeah, that's it for B.
Community collab.
Oh, I'm next, okay. Again, here we go, keep going. All right, so Community Collaboration Day is in our sixth year, and we are collaborating with the Sandusky City Schools, the Adams Board this year, and Father's Heart. And we're going to have a wonderful block party. It's going to be a great day as far as weather. It might be a little warm, but we can get through it. And it's from 2 to 5. We have about 36 tables that are going to line the streets of Mills from Pierce Street down to Perkins. In the streets, we have a lot of, we have the dunk tank. I'm coming back in on the dunk tank. And anybody else that would like to join.
What were the times on the dunk tank?
I believe.
For you?
I'm
What were
not
the-
sure.
Okay.
I don't know what time I'm going in, but yeah, I think it's probably about 2:30, something like that.
What's the
But
date?
the date is Friday. It is Friday, August 15th.
2
And
to
then,
5, right?
Excuse me?
2 to 5?
2 to 5, and everything is free. There are going to be 2 food trucks, Graham's Goodies and Strawberry Cow will be there for purchases, but there will be hot dogs, chips, ice cream. Shout out to Sandusky City Schools, ice cream and drinks with Father's Heart while that lasts. But it's going to be a great day. There's going to be a water feature of a water slide. I don't know if it's a slip and slide, but it's a inflatable that'll be on the grounds at Mills. Just some of the things that there are going to be some haircuts. Hall of Fame barbers are coming out. They're sending 3 barbers over for free haircuts. And it's just going to be a great day, support for the community with resources with the organizations. And then I also wanted to mention a shout out to the Sandusky City School buses that transported our kids safely to and from for those 4 field trips. We really appreciate it.
Jason?
Oh, it's on me, sorry.
Because
So Touch a Truck, we had another, successful Touch Truck. It was our 10th one, but not 10th annual because we had to cancel last year. It was hot. I think every event we've done so far this summer on August has been, we've said it was hot. So Life Flight did make it in, but they had to leave for a call. We had Ilya Hazov from the Strongman competition come and pull an ambulance. That was a last-minute addition, so that was kind of neat. He actually got, the harness on and pulled an ambulance up the road. There's video of that. I think it's on Shores and Islands page.
Did they go on the same time that the Tommy?
No, so,
Before.
yeah, we packed everything in. We had, the 5th was Touch a Truck, the 7th, 8th, 9th was Tommy Boy Fest. This Monday through Thursday is Safety Town. The tennis court opening was on Monday, which I'm not going to steal Chris's thunder on that one. And then we have Community Collaboration Day on Friday. And I'm speaking really too fast for Barb to keep up, I'm sorry.
Slow it. That's why you have a speaker.
That's why.
Recording.
So yeah, everything was kind of back to back. And then we also had Movies by the Bay this past Monday and the Monday before that. So, and it was really hot for Free Willy on Monday as well. But we're done with Movies by the Bay. We'll probably look to work with Aligned to see if they're interested in sponsoring again for next year or next summer. And then Ryan and I have had a couple discussions of bringing back the idea of putting a couple of fall movies, maybe out in the parks, because we're set up for Lions and the new pedestals at JC at the basketball courts, we can plug the screen in there. So we might do some pop-up movies, watch the weather, make sure it's a clear night, and be able to do that. So stay tuned for those. I think our Movies by the Bay were the best attended. Each year, it just gets more and more people kind of make it a thing on Monday nights. This past Free Willy Monday night, this past wasn't that well attended because it was a remake for the, but we'll be taking suggestions. So if anybody have a favorite movie they want to say out now that's a PG or G, got a favorite? Anybody? We'll add it to the list, but we'll take suggestions. Somebody's already asked for Wicked, and Wicked, is there a Wicked 2 already?
It has not come out yet.
Okay. Someone's already asked for
They
Wicked.
recorded it at the same time, but it has not come out yet. Yes, I know that. I'm a big Wicked fan.
So hopefully we can add that to the list, so we're looking forward to that. So any questions on Touch a Truck or Movies by the Bay? All right.
Moving on.
Next is Tommy Boy Fest. We didn't expect what kind of came out of.
Yeah, you did.
No, I mean, we had an idea that there were fans, but we didn't realize there was nationwide, I'll drive across the country or fly across the country fans.
Yeah.
California, so there's a couple from California that
Utah,
changed their anniversary. They were going to go celebrate their anniversry, so they came here to celebrate Tommy Boy Fest. And then they were going to go to Detroit, but they ended up staying in the area because they liked being they didn't even go to Detroit. They just stayed here. New Hampshire, where else you say?
Utah,
Utah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Michigan, New York. So brings a lot of good positive energy to our city, and it was great to have a bunch of people that could quote the movie as much as Ryan and I could. And no, we're not doing Tommy Boy Fest next year. That was the biggest question. Like, when's the next one? We'll wait 5 years to celebrate it again. But really happy and how our entire staff and city got it together, and then GSP, Greater Sandusky Partnership, and Lake Erie Shores and Islands, Ohio, for partnering on that. We did get on NBC Nightly News, and they did a little thing on Today Show, and it's just good to have, they didn't film one clip of the movie from here, but now we own Tommy Boy Fest, so no one else can do it, and I can't say enough about the actors that came. Pete Siegel, the director, was here too, and the way that the local businesses even kind of came together and really showed up for it. So kudos to the city on that.
Can I ask how you got them to participate, the producer and some of the actors?
So yeah, the producer, when we were looking at 2020 to celebrate the 25th anniversary, because usually 25 sounds better than 30 or 20 or so. We were talking about it, and then COVID hit. And so I had reached out to him on Instagram of all things and messaged him and said, hey, I'm from Sandusky, the place that you had in your movie. Would you have any interest in celebrating the movie in 5 years now, because it'd probably be the 30th? And he said, absolutely. You tell me what you want to do, and we'll be there. And then he was in the process of buying the car that was in the movie and restoring it. So he knew the timing of getting it restored, which it just got done probably 2 or 3 months ago, and then shipping it here, and then sponsorships. I should say the sponsorships too. Callahan Brake Parts was one of our sponsors, which is the real company. Like that's what they came to us and said. People don't think we exist. Like we're just a spoof of the movie. No, we have aftermarket brake pads. So we want to be a sponsor of this. So they were here all 3 days, and we gave them a shout out. So the sponsors made it possible for us to be able to get the actors here. And really offset the cost of the event. So it was, and yeah, Pete Siegel was awesome. Julie Warner was here. She played the girlfriend. And then Kevin Farley, Chris Farley's brother, was here on Thursday too.
So we can all agree it was a humongous success. It was pretty awesome.
Yes.
So we have 5 years to try to get David Spade here and Dan, and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. Dan Aykroyd wasn't available. We did reach out to Dan Aykroyd.
That would be,
yeah.
You already had people from all over the nation come. I think the next one will probably be bigger
Yeah.
in 5 years, because people are looking forward to it now.
Yeah, and then I think even Pete had said he reached out to Lauren Michaels and had an email to him and got an email right back and was telling him about how much Lauren Michaels was, surprised at how much success and people that there were that many people that still cared about a movie 30 years later. But
That's awesome.
Would have never happened if we didn't have Sandusky like it is. So, I mean, that's what created it.
Yeah.
And then what you guys
being
did.
able to host it, yeah.
I mean, it was 20 years ago, but the way Sandusky is now, it just made it all that much better.
Yeah.
Really good.
And Ability Works was great to work with. They did the Tommy Wentwing throwdown. That was crazy. And then you thanked Sandusky City Schools. I got to thank Joe Karras and Jera for getting the bus here because it was the .5K that we had 250 people that chased the Sandusky City Schools bus. It's a part of the movie. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to the people that are fans of the movie that they were chasing a Sandusky City School bus down the street. But yeah, thanks for that. Any good questions on Tommy Boy Fest? I've been talking about it for.
Will you have a report? Because I know people in the community will ask how much money it actually brought in to the community. You'll get that data.
We'll get, I know that GSP can run like the numbers of how many people were here over the weekend and then you can, Shores and Islands can, yeah, I'll have something, but they have a way to put in like how many people were here and then what their average spend might have been. So yeah, we do that similar with Ironman.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on road business? Let's move on to new business.
I mentioned the Strongman. They approached us. They have an event that was going to be in Toledo. It was going to be a 2-day event, but they had to kind of shift it to being a one-day event. So there was a connection made with Shores and Islands to bring the second day of it here, and we met with them. We've got an MOU with them for the city to provide basically the barricades, the street closure, restrooms, that sort of thing for it to happen. It's September 20th. It'll be a Saturday, and the event space will be north of Shade Islander Plaza on Shoreline Drive between the Barrel House and Jackson Street Pier is where they plan on doing their, lifting very heavy things and pulling very heavy things. They did a test run of actually pulling the Good Time Ferry in from the bay as one of the events, so you might see that as part of the thing that they're going to do. So it's going to be a pretty big deal.
What time is that?
I don't have the times yet, but I think it's more of a mid-afternoon to early evening.
So if this is day 2, is this like the day 2 is the finals?
Like different events.
awards?
I think it's different events too, yeah, and then the awards,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll see
Is it like a worldwide strongman?
this is
or-
the first time they brought this particular competition to the US. So I know Ilya he's like the Cyprus champion. He's the one there's a picture of him with Ka from Small City on his shoulder. He's a big guy. He did the fat guy in a little coat and ripped his jacket on Friday night or Thursday night. But yeah, this is another big event to have here, and it's great that our residents can come down and watch that, and we'll see if how it shapes up and. Any other questions on that?
I'm sold. I love it.
You,
Oh, yeah. I
you're
love
training?
it. No, no, calm down.
So that's all I had for Strongman, and then Parks and Facilities, I'd probably defer to Chris, because you're probably sick of hearing my voice. I know I am.
No, we're not. But thanks to all of you that are here tonight that came out to the ribbon cutting for the tennis courts. And a special thanks to all of the generous supporters that we had to help us put this together. The Sandusky City Schools, Sandusky Central Catholic, the United States Tennis Association, the Sandusky Education Foundation, ThorWorks. There was just a number of people that really came to the table and helped us and had this come to fruition. And we have a nice facility now that both schools can be proud of to host home tennis matches, and it's open to the public as well. So Thank you to the commissioners for your support and helping us get that project through, but especially Mr. Seiler and all of the work that you have done for tennis in general, for this community, and the number of people that you've touched, all the kids in particular. We can't say thank you enough for everything that you've done and continue to support tennis and hopefully help us grow it in the future. And a shout out to John Schlesman. He was instrumental in getting us to the table with the United States Tennis Association and allowing us to obtain that $200,000 grant to make this all happen. So thank you for all those that attended, and it was a great night, home match with the two schools, our two schools in the city of Sandusky playing one another, and we had a nice turnout. I didn't think there was going to be a lot of people there. Literally, the courts were still being striped and painted and things Friday afternoon, and we weren't sure the match was going to happen. And we wanted to move forward with just a very informal ribbon cutting, and I think we probably had about 50 people that came out for the ribbon cutting, so it was nice, and it was nice to see the support of the parents, too, of the athletes that were there. So thank you to all of you. And then at Schaefer Park, which is...
Can I comment on that? Or come on.
I'm sorry?
Who wants to make a comment?
Can I make
Yes, please do.
a tennis court comment or something? Kind of went past me.
Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, 'cause you said it was going to be a low-key day, so there was a lot of pressure on me out there, so I... Excuses. A lot of people there.
He still has a good serve.
Yeah, it was a good serve. But along with what you're saying, it's going to be just huge as the season goes along. I mean, people are going to be coming in from visiting teams and not knowing what to expect, and when they do get there, they're just going to be very surprised, or I don't know if that's the word, but certainly something that we can be very proud of, and it's done right. I mean, the courts are beautiful, and it's just a great tribute to everybody that you talked about that put it together, and it's something to be really proud of. And because coming into this, we just didn't have a facility that we could call our own. That was having people come here. Now it's just completely turned around, and it's great. So
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words.
really,
Appreciate it.
really good.
Is this open to the public?
It is. In fact, I was telling Jason earlier, and Sherry, I appreciate you asking that. I was meeting with the Northwest representative of USTA this afternoon, and she was out taking pictures, and we were talking about different things, and I couldn't have staged it any better. We actually had people come in from the public to play tennis while we were leaving. She goes, "Oh, good." Because I'm so happy
I went
to
out
see
there today,
this.
Sharon. I walked out there and measured the nets. And they're right.
I have a question about the courts. I'm very new to the tennis courts, so there's a lot of information I don't know about them.
Please.
I know it was mentioned there's going to be lights installed at some point, and then around the perimeter, like, I know we were all standing in dirt and then walked onto the court, and I know we don't want that every day.
Right.
Is there a next phase
It
for the
is.
courts?
Yes, so there'll be a phase 2, which is part of the recreation center project. So when we took a look at this, it didn't make sense to put sidewalks in there now and the lighting when we know we were going to have to dig it out when we go and eventually break down ground for the rec center. Plus, it's cheaper to do all the concrete
All
at
at
one
once.
time.
Right.
Absolutely. But yes, there is.
Okay.
Do we know anything about a rec center?
We know that there will be a RFQ that will be put out, a request for qualifications for a design builder. And once those get in, we have a team that's been put together with not only staff, but Schmidt Architect and Manning Smith will help us evaluate those to determine who would be the best candidate for the design build for the rec center.
Who decides like what is being built in that rec center?
Inside the rec center?
Yeah.
So we went through a process, Robert, with the community. We went out and did some community engagement to find out what indeed they wanted in this facility. and put that together along with, we had a architectural firm hired earlier in the process, and they helped us go out and do that actual community engagement. And then Dr. Kuntz and the commissioners put together another, what was it, a program task force, I think was?
It was an advisory.
A program advisory, thank you, that came together and met in this room to talk about what, programs would come out of that facility. And I will tell you, it's nice when we're going out and talking to different people and really pushing and telling them what this can be, that, we can say we're going to be able to deliver, because they ranked what they would like to see come out of the building, and we're going to be able to deliver 9 out of the 10 that they asked for. So that's nice to say when you're talking about potential developers and those that, want to come to the facility in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate your comments. I'm glad you brought that question up too about what would be inside the rec center. This is just my perspective, and I only speak based upon what I saw, right? I don't think there was really like this robust conversation about programming. It almost appeared, and I'm just speaking frankly, that that conversation had been preordained. And so when I say that too, even though we had an advisory committee, I'm always asking, what is the responsibility of this particular board in terms of their voices being heard, in terms of being able to provide some recommendations of their own? So I'm saying all this to say, before that rec center is built, and we don't even know what the rooms are, we do know that there'll be 2 gymnasiums in there. I don't know how much space will be available in all those rooms, but I do know this, that if you think about what happened at the police station, right, that was roughly under 11 million, somewhere between 10 and 11 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but I believe I remember that. And that was probably about what we're going to be able to spend for this rec center when you include interest. Think about it. We say 14 million, but really it's going to be probably about 11 million. What can you really get for that? Now, I'm going to say that for this reason as well. If you think about what we might be able to get that'll accommodate us, the minimum, how many rooms you may have, you might have expected more, but you won't have them. Then you start thinking about programming. Now I'm going to say this because I want the media and the public to pick this up. I've said all along that I'm for what the recreation department currently does for after-school programming, for the programming in the summer. Always been for that. Now, I sometimes don't come right back for those who try to come against me when they say these kinds of things, because people already know what I do for kids. But I'm going to say this. If we think about this particular body should be thinking about how that programming will look and think about all of the audiences that we must serve, right? You're going to be serving more than 80 to 100 children. In an after-school program, in a summer program, you're going to be serving pre-K and kindergarten. You're going to be serving first and second graders. You're going to be serving teens. You're going to be serving young adults. You're going to be serving the elderly. You're going to be serving all of these groups. You're going to be serving, hopefully, adult leagues, teen leagues. The question becomes, how do you plan and manage that in those rooms and still have the exact same thing that you have for after-school programming and summer programming? So let me be clear. That is my position. That's where I'm standing, so everyone here understands where I'm coming from. This body should be talking about that well in advance. You should be talking about that. Once you know what those rooms are and how big they are, what is the planning then? What is the programming then? Am I clear? I mean, I'm just trying to, I get passionate about this because I don't like people trying to perpetuate rhetoric.
We have that presentation. I mean, we did present to commission of fitting all those programs together and then what we plan on expanding to in that, and we could even
I get that, but I'm talking about the time frame. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to have details, specifics, right, of how to accommodate all of those audiences, particularly if, you know, it's not like a 24-hour facility. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
It's not a 24-hour facility. So there's only going to be so much that you can do in between the times that you do them in, right? That's really important to me that people understand where I'm coming from. So for any naysayers who try to make that statement, I don't even respond because the people in this community who know me know that I care tremendously about children and teens. All right, that's all I have on that. We can come back to something else if somebody else has a question, but I got quite a bit on my agenda today. So
Can I just jump in? I just wanted to make it clear also that when we started this campaign for the levy, it was the hope that the kids of this community would have a state-of-art brand new facility and not an old school. I've been doing this for many, many years in an old school building, and I'm grateful for those buildings. Made a lot of change, a lot of impact on the kids and the youth of this community, having a space for them to be. So when this first came about, this is where it initially, from my lane, and everybody has their own thing, but everybody knows me in this community, what I do. And it was always about the kids. And it was always about the kids. And we've been on several site visits to cities that have comparable populations that have rec centers. And they have elderly programs, and they have young adult programs, and they have pre-K, and they have everything that you mentioned, Dr. Coombs. And they found a way. And I think we have a way, and I've seen those plans to make all those populations be served with what we have. So my thing is, my lane is these kids, and because they deserve it. They deserve a place to be, and that's all I got to say about that.
yeah, and I agree, and you're absolutely right. And the thing that I'd like to say, if anybody at any time said that they wouldn't support those programs, I'd like to know who they were at any time, because I know I didn't. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that. I never said that.
Well, I think you did mention something about it.
I did mention something about it.
Logistically, it didn't make sense logistically to think that the kids program would go into the new rec center.
The same way that it looks right now,
Yeah.
is what I said.
Well,
So I want to make sure we're clear about that.
yep, I got it.
Can you give me an example of some of the programs that are going to be at the new rec center?
So group exercise, so the current floor plan that we have, there's 2 group exercise rooms, so you'll have group exercise. And as Dr. Kuhn said, I mean, this facility, when we think about who it's going to serve, it's basically serving the cradle to the grave. So you have seniors that are involved with the Silver Sneakers programs, which is they pay for the seniors' membership to facilities like a rec center or Curves or whatever it may be. So, there may be senior aerobics classes going on in there. There's a walking track. There's 2 gymnasiums. So, you're looking at basketball skills classes, maybe soccer skills classes in there, volleyball league. So things like that. I mean, I'm not going to list all of them, but
Right.
think about, one of the things that we learned when we first started engaging with the community is we have anywhere from 30 to 40 residents that are traveling to rec centers outside of here. So Norwalk, Bellevue, Fremont. And, as a couple people have said that are here now, that our kids deserve a place for them here, and we want to keep them here. So
Are there rentable spaces for groups?
there's going to be some rentable spaces for it. I'm not going to say, Robert, the gymnasium at first, because I think that with the popularity of the facility,
Right.
we want to service our residents and the members to that facility first. So, maybe in the future, but initially, I don't see gym rentals being a part of the programmatic menu, if you will, coming out of this facility.
Okay.
Want to make sure if there's a group that wants to come and play basketball, there's a court to go play basketball.
Yeah.
basically.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there'll be like open gym times where,
Yes.
like, remember Saturday mornings, we used to go to the Y and play basketball for 5 hours.
Absolutely.
So that kind of thing. Then you said leagues, like evening leagues.
Yes.
Yeah. bring back the Cameo Volleyball League type stuff.
We're talking like 2 gymnasiums, or we're talking like the size of like SIS gym, the Sandusky Intermediate School gym, or?
Pretty close to that, and, you know, we're looking to be able to at least divide them in half, possibly quads, so that you can program that appropriately. I mean, space utilization, as Dr. Coote says, is going to be key with this.
All right.
And delivering the programs that, you know, we want to deliver for our community.
Yeah, and Chris, one more thing. You know, when we think about the space, particularly as it relates to those dollars that I talked about, this particular recreation center is probably going to be much smaller than we thought it would be initially. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but based upon the cost of materials, based upon all of the changes that occur, based upon, you know, what's needed, it might be smaller than what we originally planned, because I think we need to get a little closer to that amount we said, right? Because I don't think we really gave people what they needed in terms of, hey, here's what we're really going to get because of the interest, because of everything else that's charged. Now, I want to move on quickly and make an example just for you all to think about this, right? I thought it was great that we were going to have this pool, right? The Aqua Center over at the high school. It's all relevant, right? But here's the situation now. You got the pool, and remember we talked about community use. And KK, correct me if I'm wrong. We talk about community use, but when I look at the schedule, I see primarily maybe 2.5 times that it's really for community use. There's a time for laps. And generally when you think of laps, who do you think of when it's available for laps? Adults, right? When you think of, you know, the water exercise, whatever they call it now, you still think of adults. I didn't see anything on that schedule that said anything about children. And one of the things that I got excited about was this idea that we can teach our children how to swim. And then there's something else that I saw that really troubled me, right? It wasn't on the schedule, but I saw something and I read it, and I'll bring it in once I get my hands on it again, but that there would be possibly a charge. Now, I'm saying a charge, $5 for all of our children, for families who have 3 children, 4 children, $20 for them to swim? That's a problem. So we need to have those conversations, and I think this particular body, of course the commissioners chime in, but I get to take those recommendations to the city commission. And we should think about those right now. If we're not going to have a rec center built for 1.5 years, 2 maybe, Chris, right? Then we have plenty of time to talk about it, particularly after we know what it will look like. So I'm serious about this, and I know you all are as well. And then I'll hold my comments for anybody else who wants to get in, because I got 3 or 4 different things we need to talk about. And I hope you're not in a hurry today.
Well, let me add something since we're at the pool. One of the questions was, is there a place where a family can gather and have lunch while they're swimming? Is it that atmosphere, or is it more of a structured, what you can do inside the surf's area? Are we creating a family atmosphere at this pool, or is it just structured to where you can only do certain things? Since it's the public's pool also. I know it's a hard question. I don't even know how to ask it, but I was.
From what I've seen, we don't have picnic tables or anything like that, but I know that they've had donuts while the students that were doing their morning swim for their elementary swim team. I know they do donut Fridays, and I think they did pizza on the last day.
So it's not really a family thing where you'll take your little basket and sit on a towel and.
No, it's a swim deck.
Okay.
It's a swim deck with bleachers.
Okay. The other question was, let me find it again. Are retired employees allowed to use their card for admission if admission is charged?
That I don't know.
Well, right now it's the health department managing the facility, so that'd be.
Oh, so they set the prices and all?
No, I don't want to speak to anything of how it's set up currently, because I know that they're, 3 months into being it open, or having it open, so
It
I'm not
was a
really sure.
retired teacher that had asked that question, and I, of course, don't know that.
We have had a large number of retired teachers that have come in. How, if they pay or not, I have no idea.
quick question. I'm wondering, because of the question that you asked Sherry as well, just what effort do we plan or have we actually initiated to where the rec department can work with the health department in terms of potential planning? Because I wondered how that came about in the first place.
The city's been in conversations ever since, I think, the pool was opening, and at this time it was, we weren't ready to, as far as where we're at as a department, take on any additional responsibilities of that. And having the health department involved, it seemed like the schools and the health department should have things kind of at least nailed down as far as what they needed out of their needs of what they plan to do with the swim team, and then what the health department planned on doing with some of the, the aerobics classes and the programs that they had, the lap swimming that they're putting in there. I know that lifeguards has been a major issue, and that's not just a Sandusky, Ohio thing. That's across Ohio. That's across rec programs all over, is finding lifeguards. But our thought was, or our stance sort of was, that if we get a third party involved and we're like, well, we want to go, show Jaws or something, or have some sort of like special event sort of program in there, let's wait until, they get the things moving first and get the team going, which they're probably, starting pre-season, whatever, conditioning. Let that get going first, and then let us get the rec center going and get our, through the programs that we currently do, because we have a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
Before we, get in there and start saying, okay, well, now we want to do a 3-hour thing with Sandusky Rec or something like that. So
I can understand that,
Yeah.
allowing them to move forward, and then after they've got it in place, to come alongside them, right, with some of the programming that potentially could occur out of the rec department for children, teens, the elderly, right? I wouldn't expect all of that to come from the health department. So I'm just saying.
And I would say, with the proximity, not that Mills is that much further away, but when we have a rec center that's basically a hop, skip, and a jump away,
Right.
is there other things that we do with our youth program where we take kids, the 2 blocks
Yeah.
to go over there to do programming with the pool, knowing
Right.
that it's close.
Yeah, that makes my point.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Is this open year-round to the public?
They have,
Yes, so I can talk to this a little bit. As the months go on, we are slowly adding more and more programming and times. We're actually going to post later this week that some 2 p.m., I believe it's either 3 or 4 p.m. times are coming. As we hire more lifeguards and get that process worked out, evening times will be coming, weekend times will be coming. I will ask the question about the retired teachers. I don't know that answer, but I will find out. And what was the other question we just talked about?
Go ahead.
Food, having to be able to eat while you're there.
Yeah, I'll ask about that as well. Like Robert said, some specialty programs, I don't see why, other than not wanting to get food into the pool, but the bleachers are set up to be able to set stuff down, set up your family up, make it comfortable, sit on towels.
growing up, they told us you shouldn't eat 30 minutes before swimming too, though, right? Was that?
It's definitely not set up like an indoor surf sup.
No.
How we used to sit on the grass with blankets. It's a pool deck.
It's still a school.
Yeah.
Right.
Swim classes too, I think, swim classes?
Yes, those will be coming. As we said, this summer, we got in our youth elementary competition teams. They got back into the swing of thing after being basically off for 2 years. So now the high school swim team will start this fall, and then I imagine, I haven't talked to the health department specifically to know if there's any sooner plans that will be coming sooner for swim lessons, but next summer, absolutely, without a doubt. Hopefully, we can get some in before then also, depending on timing of the schedule.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Biggest issue has been lifeguards.
Yeah, we just held a class, or we are about to hold the class, I believe it was the last Monday. They held lifeguard training class all day, pretty much in the pool. And I know they'll have more opportunities like that coming up to
Well, I think
get
all
more
of you
people
would
on
look good in
board.
a Speedo.
No, thank you.
You got jokes.
Yeah, and any questions about the Aquatic Center, they can be sent to our Ask Us email or to Mr. Muratori or to me, and we'll ask the health department. We'll work together. We're sitting at the table working through these as they come up and trying to really make this the best facility that it can be. We were actually in there the other day on a tour with some of the board members, and one of our residents was doing some lap swimming, and she stopped and came over to us and said that she swam in almost every facility in Ohio. These are her words. And ours is by far the best that she's ever been in, and she's very thankful that she can go there every day or as often as she can to get her lap swimming in. So I look forward to expanding our programs and times. It is coming, we promise. And yeah.
Chris, you want to finish off on Schaefer Park?
Schaefer Park. So Schaefer Park, which is the park right across the street from the high school, if you're not aware where that's at, we have a new playground, brand new playground in there. We redid some of the mats underneath the swings and just recently landscaped around the playground as well. So it's open to the public, and hopefully we get a little bit of rain, not a downpour, but a nice soaker for a day or two to help us grow some grass around the playground structure. But it's a beautiful park, and I'm glad that we could get that put in before the weather turns on us. Any questions about Schaefer?
No, I've seen what they're working on. Anything else under new business?
I might have something for new business, but I think I can save it for open discussion, because I enjoy open discussion.
Now we're going to move on to open discussion.
I wanted to mention there was a ribbon cutting at Churchwell Park on July 29th. It was the Phase 1 of that park in that area. If you get a chance to drive by, bring your kids over there to Splash Pad, and the water features are amazing. The park looks amazing. It doesn't look like the MacArthur Park area that I know. And it's exciting to see our kids. We've walked our kids from middle school over to that park twice this summer for an outing, and they love it. They love the whole walk over there, those couple of blocks. It was exciting for them on that adventure, but yeah, Channel 5 came out to do a story, and it was pretty awesome to see a lot of kids in that area, in that neighborhood. So check out Churchwell Park. That was well deserved. They deserve it over there in that neighborhood. So
Kudos to them being all out
Yeah.
there when we did the ribbon cutting and we had the kids out, and it was just like active. It was great to see it.
It was perfect.
And what time did you say you're going to be in the dunk tank on Friday?
Aha! Come to the event.
I think along the same lines as I was talking about the tennis courts, but just talking about the lap swimming, and I think when visiting teams come into Sunskies for the swim meet, they're going to be super impressed with the facility as it relates to swim team. I mean, the old swimming pool was 1950s, and I mean, it's like night and day.
It is.
And
Well,
so
that and the-
that's going to be neat to see.
Yeah.
that
And the
people
tennis
come in.
courts, yeah. You're saying that and the tennis, it's like, I think
Yeah,
the
it's
tennis
beautiful.
courts were long overdue.
Yes, it's a beautiful facility. Anybody else?
Oh, Richard.
All right. A few things, because when I'm out in the community, I listen to people, and when they have concerns, I talk to them. I brought this up at the city commission meeting, but I think this is the body that actually can provide more information. And I talked to the, I guess it's the commissioner out there, the guy named Taylor at AMVETS.
Aaron Taylor?
Aaron Taylor at AMVETS.
Yep.
Yep, and I talked to him and probably 5 other coaches at AMVETS. And I walked the grounds at AMVETS and the other park, Sproul.
Sproul Park, yeah.
And I'm just going to be absolutely honest, I was disappointed. The one thing that was really great to see, although it's a baseball park, it was great to see that they had a children's play area. But I found out that, anybody remember how much was spent on the children's play area? It was $217,000. And it came out of ARPA funds. But all of the coaches wanted out there was a batting cage, a warm-up practice pitcher's mound, netting that goes around the sides of AMVETs, right? So when errant balls go over and outside of the park, they don't hit the cars. I was there one day watching my grandson play, and one of those balls got away and cracked the windshield. They don't have netting that goes that far. Now, just talking about those things, that's not an exorbitant amount of money, right? I looked up batting cages. They can go anywhere from, the cheapest, probably $1,000. They can go all the way up to $10,000 for a batting cage, right? And they can be enclosed with, although we say cage, they can be enclosed with netting, right? I don't see why that couldn't have been taken care of. So I'm looking ahead for the summer of '26. The other thing, as it relates to a practice mound, a pitcher's mound, same thing, not exorbitant cost. And so I'm saying, why couldn't we have done that mound? Why didn't we work on that? Could some of the ARPA funds could have been used for that? It's $217,000 for a children's playground area between Sproul and AMVETS. Last but not least, certainly not least on the list, because I'm always thinking about the things that we do and what they represent for the people that we serve. And so if I go to a baseball game and they have 3 parks, really more than that out there. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 parks out there. But you can only, I'm talking about families, women, elderly. If they need to use the restroom, they have to go to a porta potty. That's not right to me. We've got regular restroom facilities out at Lions Park. And I know that sometimes those facilities, depending on what you want done, can cost quite a bit. They can cost as much as $200,000 from what I understand. But I'm of this mindset. What is it that we can do for less than that? And if it did cost $200,000, where can we get the money? That's a city commission problem. I'm willing to work on it. But I just would like some feedback about whether or not those concerns were heard, whether any attempts from this body, did you hear those kinds of concerns before, and what was done? Because I walked that entire facility. The fields, I know that they're supposed to be responsible for dragging them themselves after it's been done once, I believe, right?
I can speak to all the points, but I'll wait till you.
Okay, and so that's the main thing for me. I literally gave you probably about 4 things, 3 of which I don't think would be a problem of really getting it done now when it comes to a batting cage and it comes to, the practice pitcher's mound. But I know that the restroom could be, a problem. So I'm just curious to hear about that initially, just to find out what your thoughts are.
So I don't know if there's anything to chime in on it too, but as far as I know, Aaron Taylor, the president of the league, is new to the league and is just he came on right before I think we went into the priority use agreement with him and with the league. And I don't know the timing of it all, but I think all the improvements that were done out of AMVETS and Sproul were set in motion before he was even on as the league president.
Yeah. And before I was on.
Yeah, and the 4 things you mentioned, the netting, the batting cages, the pitching, those aren't things that, maybe the pitching mound thing was brought to our attention, and I think Curtis was working with them on that, but those things, if they're brought to you in a separate conversation but never brought to us as far as when the project was starting, the field moving, the 2 fields getting moved, and the brand new fields, plus the new parking lot that we left in there so cars could park and people could, in the sidewalks that were all added, so people could park in an area where their cars wouldn't get hit by the balls.
Closer to
would
AMVETS.
alleviate some of the netting issues, because netting, as you probably have seen at JC even, you put it up and then a year later it's got rips in it and it becomes a problem. It gets into power lines. The netting is something that we try to alleviate with having an additional parking lot where people could park there, walk up, and not worry about their cars getting dinged.
Gotcha.
The batting cage, which I agree, I think there should be more batting cages in the city, because there was an indoor one at Bolt Street, I think, for a while. But the batting cages that are out at Dorn, were put in by those priority use agreements that Sandusky Central Catholic Schools and Sandusky City Schools, they put in their own batting cages as part of, they came to the city and said, we want to put in a batting cage, and we said, sure, give us the specs of it, tell us what you want to do, let us make sure that we know you're putting in a proper foundation so the poles don't lean and the nets, and they're owned by AMVets, they're owned by your league, and you can put those in. We give you permission to put those in and let us know. And I've had a couple emails back and forth with Aaron asking, let us know what you want to put in there, and then we can get that approved. And if you're going to get funding from a, foundation or something like that, we can approve that. But we want to make sure that we're not adding more amenities that then we're going to have to maintain outside of what the league is doing, because they're the only league that's using those fields.
Right.
And it's only 2 or 3 months out of the year that you're using those fields. We've always put in a portable restroom right there by the Erie Blacktop concession stand.
Right.
This year, they asked, could we get another restroom? The city is paying for a second restroom to be on site. Yeah.
You mean porta potty?
Our porta potties,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't, but as far as like how many months out of the year that's being used, Lions Park is used and has more rentals throughout the entire year, as far as the time frame that's used, and having a splash pad there kind of says we should probably have a restroom there. That was part of the pump facility. That was part of the whole project of that park. We have another in Shoreline Park. We have permanent restrooms that are there, and then we have permanent restrooms at Jackson Street Pier. So those are the 3 that our staff currently maintains every single day, and I think Dorn has men's and women's that was part of that facility that our staff maintains. I think they do more checks during the baseball season, softball season, but not necessarily throughout the entire year. So when you put in another restroom facility, if you plan on keeping it open, you also have to make sure that it's going to be maintained and it's not going to get, trashed or whatever when there aren't things going on. Now, we have asked Aaron and the league, and Curtis, our grounds superintendent, has tried to, our grounds foreman, has tried to stay in communication with them on almost a weekly basis, because it seems like every weekend when there's games, we've got trash can throughout the entire park, but under the bleachers is full of trash. Under, outside the playing areas is full of, in the dugouts, trash. And I think they've gotten better as the years go on, or as the year has progressed. But that's something that we're working on too, is trying to make sure that that part of their priority use agreement is to maintain those fields. And when our grounds crew goes out and drags the field at the start of May, they're supposed to start right after that to drag them. Because if you don't drag them, then you have weeds growing up, and they start to look bad, and then we ended up going out and dragging them a second time, even though that wasn't really part of the priority disagreement. So that's kind of what where we're at.
Up against.
They met with you, but we're also in conversations of here's what you should do if you want to have those batting cages. If you're having cars getting hit by balls, we understand that that's an issue because of the neighborhood park and the tightness of it. But there is a parking lot and brand new. I don't know what the cost of the concrete was, but there's probably $1 million that's gone into that facility over the past year in concrete, moving the fields and the new playground. I would guess. I could be wrong, but
It's,
Right.
yes.
So who's responsible for the neighborhood trash?
well, I mean, any neighborhood, usually your residents keep.
That goes around the ballpark,
I don't-
that gathers?
I think he's saying the trash is coming from games.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not from the games.
Well, still, it doesn't matter. If there's a trash can sitting there, they should know to go put the trash in the trash can.
Our crew goes around daily and picks up trash in all the parks, and Central Park on a regular Thursday, Friday night. There's kids using it. Trash is a sign of people using the parks. Don't get me wrong. If there's no trash in the parks, that usually means,
Yeah.
but
Good thing.
it's about hitting the trash can and putting it in the trash can when we have
Right.
5 of them in a park. We've been working through that for eternity. It's about respecting it and making sure that if you have a league in there, that league isn't leaving and it goes with the schools. If there was an issue with trash at schools, we'd be like, hey, Robert, softball's leaving, all their water bottles laying out, and we're working with them on it.
Right.
Aaron's new, it's his first year. We want AMVets to be successful. It's our longest running, 74 years or 80 years or something league, longest running league probably in the area. So we're trying to help them be successful. The restroom thing would be something if if it's deemed that they need something in there because they're using them that much, or they bring in, maybe there's something that they bring in a portable, one of those nicer ones that comes in just for the couple months that it's there, that could be an
Right.
option as well, but.
Yeah, I get you. Something to step up from
Yeah.
porta potties.
And Farwell came up, I think, as a question for one of the parks, that we didn't have a
Porta potty.
because we weren't programming it, so we only had 3 rentals throughout the entire year, so we didn't have one in there. I took a call, I talked to somebody about it. Should we have one in there? Well, we'll look at, if we know we have rentals coming and we have 4 of them in a month, maybe we put a portable restroom out there, but not every park has a portable restroom. I think Orlando Pace, Wilbert, trying to think, some of the ones that are more neighborhood pocket parks, we don't, Talon Floor Park doesn't have a restroom in it. Some of those don't, because we figure if it's a
resident
neighborhood, if kids
park.
got to run home real quick,
Yeah, neighborhood park.
or bike home real quick, then
I got
they
you.
do that. But we're always,
Yeah, that came up at the city commission meeting too, the Farwell
I think
Park.
Mr. Garrett.
Yeah, not having a porta potty. But I get what you're saying as it relates to the responsibility that they have to clean up. So, and it sounds like that's what you were saying about the trash, right? That they should maintain and at least clean up and make sure the trash is in the trash cans, and then the city will pick up that trash, right? So, but I'll be working on trying to make sure that at least we get a step up from the porta potty to something that is a little more private for those elderly folks, for women, for everybody, really, that they can use out there. So I was just curious about what you knew. So I appreciate you giving me some feedback on that.
yeah.
Question? If you had a question, I got some other stuff. All right. I wanted to say congratulations, Mike. Congratulations, Rob. And also congratulations for your selection as the AD.
Thank you.
You got a wealth of knowledge, experience, the expertise, the education, and all that good stuff. And you've served already for quite a while.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on from Erie Parks, right? And so, and from my understanding, you've served quite a while with our rec people, and I think it's great. But the question I have, and I needed to pass this out for everybody first. You can look on with me if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. And you two, I think you already have it. I'm gonna have to allow you to share. Maybe you two share, and the two of you can share. And you and Tandra can share, please, Chris.
Absolutely.
And you probably already seen it, right?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
You got it?
I know that. Yeah, I got it on my email.
All right.
But yeah.
All right, so, and I'm raising this issue primarily because you all know that I couldn't be at the last rec board meeting because my mother-in-law passed away tragically, my wife's mom, and I couldn't be at the meeting. And as a result of not being at the meeting, I didn't know what was discussed, but I find out that this particular issue wasn't discussed. And not that I have any problem, it's never personal for me. I don't have any problem with the selection. I'm always questioning process. And I've already taken this to a few people, talking about how our processes for the selection of our committee and board members should remain fairly consistent. And so when this came before us at the city commission meeting, I'm going to tell you, I assumed that there was a conversation between all of the members of this body, right, about those who might have applied for the position and those who could be selected, right? I assumed wrongly, and I'll take that. I did. I assumed wrongly that there was conversation, and so when the recommendation came before me, right, I just said, hey, fine, yes. Now, that's not to disparage the selection, so I want you to make sure you understand that, Mike. I'm not coming for you. But I believe that when we serve on these committees and boards, and if you look at that, I'm going to give you time to look at it, right? When you look at the ordinance established as it relates to specifically this rec board, what jumps out at you? What stands out for any of you? And let's just have a candid conversation about it. Anything at all. And if nobody has any conversation or anything that stands out for you, okay.
8 persons?
Yep, 8 persons is the first thing that Rob said, right? 8 persons. And when you think about 8 persons, what else would come to your mind as it relates to that particular number? Anything at all?
Yeah. You could possibly have a tie.
You could possibly have a tie. Thank you, Chris. Right? We're all critical thinkers at this table. That's an issue. right? What else do you see? That, and based on what I know, I've only been on the city commission for a year and a half. But what else do you see? Anybody, KK? It says 3 years. It says to serve 3 years. That's every single member here. Now, what does that mean? That should be a natural question. It's a natural question for me. What does that mean after serving 3 years? Does that mean if somebody else applied to serve on this particular body, this board, that that person who had already served 3 years, if you only have one person that applied to be on this board, then that person automatically can take a seat? Or you all get to talk about it? What does it mean? I don't expect to have any answers, right? It's a rhetorical question, right? But it's something that we should think about. So, and in this particular case, I don't know how many. I think we had maybe 4 particular applications on file, right? And so I wanted to be able to give Jason, because we already talked, and he made it plain to me, and I appreciate that, Jason. It's not anything that I consider diabolical. You know what I mean? I was like, just tell me what you were thinking. You know, I've asked similar questions before in the city commission, and everybody gets quiet. Like, I think that's a problem. Just be honest about what we're doing, right? Let's just be honest with one another. And so, and for the benefit of the people who are here, and also for the benefit of the public, can you explain how this all came about and that you made the recommendation primarily, and then the city commission voted on it? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in the past, when we've had an opening that pops up on rec board, I'll go into, pop into Kathy's office. I actually just was like, hey, I don't know if you heard, but we did lose Larry Wren, and, what's the timeline? Is there going to be, a certain time when they would, have somebody come on rec for the next position in there? And she said, well, we do have, I think it was 3 or 4 applications. And when I saw the people that were on there, and honestly, when I saw that Mike's name was in there, I was like, wow, Mike applied to be on rec board. And we've known Mike for probably the 7 years at least that we've been here. And from conversations on this, in these meetings of whether we're Sandusky City Schools heavy has come up in conversation before, that we've got a lot of folks that are, which I don't foresee as a bad thing, but it has come up in conversation. And with Mike's knowledge of already being a member of OPRA and also being in our building on a weekly basis, if not more, it seemed like a no-brainer as far as, in Mike's time here. Whether residency, I think our thing says that a majority of which shall be residents of the city. I know when I actually was on the rec board, on the rec board, when I came on, I was a city resident, and when I moved out of the city, I was asked I was asked to stay on because of my.
You got hired.
Well, I was asked to stay on when I was still not a resident of the city, but not working for the city. I was asked because of working for the Register and then what I was bringing to the rec board to stay on, because there's a residency requirement that a majority of the board, which lives in the city, 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 I'm not sure, lives in the city, that's a majority. So that's where there was no issue of whether, if Mike's address says Sandusky, whether that's Sandusky Huron Township or Sandusky.
I think what the discussion is that Terry Bellamy was asked to leave because he lived in Perkins,
Okay,
which he did.
but I see, and I can't speak to when Terry Bellamy was on the rec board and what the rules were of the rec board.
Next one that came in, and because of the residency, it was talked about. And then they rearranged it so you could stay and then you became an employee. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, but
And then Dwayne Sear tried to get in, you told him no, he can't be involved because he lives in Castalia?
see, and these are things that I don't know who is telling Dwayne that he can't be, like, you're saying to me, like, are you saying that he was told by me? Because I don't.
Not you personally.
Okay, but that's what
It was a rule that you had to be a city resident.
But that's not what's on this, so I don't know who had told Terry Bellamy. I don't know the history of any of that. All I know is what Dr. Kuntz has supplied here, which is the bylaws of our rec board. And again, it doesn't matter. Congratulations, you're I don't want to get into, but be a city
And
resident.
this by
simply.
means is nothing about you. I don't know you personally.
No, I understand. I completely understand.
A couple others that have tried to get on, and then they bypass them, and then we go again. And we
And-
think, well, then this next time, well, then we're bypassed again. And so,
And Dr. Coons kind of pointed to that, like the process and making sure that we're following the rules, and I completely understand that.
Yeah.
So,
We're glad to have you, trust me.
Yeah, and in our conversation also, I think it came to me recommending Mike doesn't mean that it's set in, whatever the commission decides on it, but, and it also doesn't mean that anybody that I've recommended in the past, I don't think is worth serving, or that there is anybody that's
Right.
on the floor that isn't,
Right.
wouldn't be able to serve on the rec board. All I
Right.
know is that out of what I've had seen, I would make a recommendation with Mike because Mike has been in our building. Mike has been on podcasts with our kids. Mike, we are going to be entering, and this is something that I wanted to say in open discussion in a more of a positive way, but I am so excited to have Robert and Mike join our board, not just for what they can bring to this, but with the pandemic, we stepped away from some of the programming that we did. A lot of it was the sports and with the schools, and I think we can bring some of that programming back with Robert being on. With the future of having the landing and having our Pipe Creek Wildlife Area, and that's going to be more of things that we're going to start programming, having somebody that has naturalist experience and has the background that Mike has brings that even more to what we can do with Sandusky Rec and do for these kids and the community in general with
Right.
those facilities. So speaking to that, I was going to say that, just welcome that you guys are both here to help with that. But I can't speak to who was told what. All I can say is when I
so
was,
that's not a rule, is what you're saying.
the
Yeah.
residency says the majority of the board shall be city residents.
Right, right. And so I only opened this up for discussion because, again, and by the way, I agree with you, like having both of you on board, you got a designated seat,
Yeah.
right?
Guys are-
Yeah.
Am I next?
He's got a designated seat,
I'm
right?
gonna look on this like, what is my position
His is
here?
designated. Shall be a member or
Next.
designee of the Sandusky Board of Education. That's designated. But the reason I asked the question is right because when it comes down to it, as a city commissioner, I try not to just like force myself and push my weight around. I really don't. I like to hear from other people who have ideas about what's needed and to hear that there was a conversation. So again, I'm going to ask this really it's for the last time so we can wrap this conversation up. How do you all believe you should proceed in situations like this? Because in this situation, and God rest his soul for serving so long, Mr. Wren, right? He passed away suddenly and he did his job for us. But there are two questions that come to mind, okay? And the first one is, hey, who will replace him based upon who applied? That's natural. The other question is, how soon should we replace him? So that was an issue because it happened so suddenly. Like, oh, he just passed, right? And maybe within a week, at least 2 weeks before, the board or the city commission got this, making a recommendation. Was it necessary to move that fast? Now, I'm done with that. How would you all like to proceed in this particular case or in the future, those cases like this? How do you think we should proceed? What would be best for the residents of Sandusky? Yeah, I get that you got somebody who's been working with you all. Yeah, I get that you have so many individuals who are already working in the schools. But on the other side, you got all the other people that work for the rec department. We all work with children, right? But there are other people who work with children too.
Well,
There are other,
I would say, if they honestly truly want to be on this board,
Yes.
they should be sitting in that seat over there.
Yep.
Or they should be volunteering to be with our kids more
Yep.
often that we could see them.
yes, and that's a good point. And since you made that point, how many of the individuals that we have appointed over the years, I don't care whether you go 5, 10, 15 years, how many of them actually sat there for the whole time? Most of them didn't do that. Am I right or wrong? Most of the people who come on, they didn't do that. And so that's a good requirement. I like that. But what would you do? And see, I like when we think critically about what would be best. I like when instead of we just kind of go along to get along and go, well, they made a decision. That's not, for me, that's not the best way to proceed. The best way is to have conversation, for me to hear your ideas, Mike, for me to hear your ideas, KK, Bob, for me to hear your ideas and to think critically about how to make it better. It's real simple to me. And so I want to know how you think, because I don't like, and this has happened to me many times, that when I open up the floor, and it's happened on city commission, I open up the floor to hear from them about how they feel, and everybody's quiet. It's almost like they don't want the public to know how they really feel. And unless you don't know the issue, I can understand you not speaking. But if you know what the issues are and you have a mind to understand and you have a thought, please tell me so we can proceed, and tell the public. That's what I want to know right now.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
You and I have already spoken on a couple occasions. I think you and I are on the same page with athletics and coaching as this board. Now, I know I'm very new to this board, but I've kind of just jumped right in. And I appreciate the opportunity, and I will serve this board best of my abilities. So with that being said, you and I have the same beliefs with coaches. You think coaches should be volunteering. They shouldn't automatically be a varsity coach. I completely agree that if there's people that want to be on the board, they should be in this room. It should be the same type of deal. That show us that you want to be here and prove to us that you are capable of serving.
Yes.
So, from my standpoint, I don't know any of the backstory at all. I've read articles in the newspaper about Michael. I've read the article. That's about the only knowledge I have of that.
Right. Of living.
But in the future, it says a majority need to live in the vicinity of the city, or?
In the city limits,
is
yeah, or be
a
a city
majority.
resident, sorry, yeah.
And then that person is recommended by Jason or by the committee or the city
That's
commission?
where, and Richard and I talked about that as well, like, I don't think there's a set selection process for any of the boards, but something that made sense to me when we were talking was that the commission liaison, you know, if you're the commission liaison and the commission eventually makes, so there should be some discussion, but maybe, and this is just coming from my side of things as far as, I wouldn't suggest, you know, the recreation, because none of the other boards do this either, is the recreation board decides who's on the recreation board. Maybe the recreation board leadership or the officers, but once you get into a public forum like we are right now, and this is a public meeting, discouraging against somebody as opposed to another person in a public forum, I don't think that's real conducive to a good conversation, but having, you know, something with the commission liaison and, you know, when if there's several applicants to look at those and come to a, you know, a consensus, I guess, is.
Right.
Sees those applicants, those applications.
The commissioners and the commission clerk is the commission clerk.
Yeah, if they call for them. Like if we have members of the city commission that actually said, we want to see those recommendations come to us, right? And there's generally an email that's sent out, but nothing as it related to this position and as it relates to qualifications and all that good stuff. I get all that from you all after you talk about it.
In the olden days, we did it that way.
Yeah.
We shared that, and then we picked, and then we
Yes.
passed it on.
Yes.
In a public forum, like or was it?
Yeah.
We'll pass them back and forth and read them, and
Maybe like an executive
Session.
session.
Executive committee or something? Oh, executive session, okay.
it
Yeah.
was picked by us as
See,
the,
and that's something I would
Yeah.
want to know
They'd
more
give
from
them a
our.
recommendation.
now we're
Yeah.
showing our age.
Right.
But Sherry, for clarification, it was picked by you or you picked and recommended?
I think we
it to the
recommended.
liaison?
We
Recommended.
We recommended.
Recommended, right.
Because, there was Victoria, there was,
Oh, gosh.
there were all kinds of awesome people.
Sue Skinner.
Susan, there was
Michelle Spear, or Michelle.
Michelle Spear.
Yeah.
Michelle Spear, awesome. Who's the other one?
But that was your director. That wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Victoria got, she had Jason's job. Michelle had Jason's job.
Right.
Who among some of this is.
But we
Sue.
also did the
Sue.
other two.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been on the board, we had no input of who's gonna replace, just say it's Steve. We don't have, that's the school. We didn't have no, who's gonna replace Mike. The board never had, I've been
We
on the
didn't
board.
have all these people then.
Yeah, we have. I've been on the board for 15 years. We have never say, we want this person. The city commission makes that decision.
Yeah.
It's not this board who gets the seat.
No, we didn't tell them what to do, we just got to look at the applicants.
I have never looked at applicant.
Right.
Ever.
That was-
And I've been on this board for 15 years.
Yeah.
That was way back before your time. It was,
So,
yeah.
in 15 years, we have not looked, I mean, we've
Makes sense.
hired,
Yeah.
we had Eric Jordan on here, and we had Devin. Who else did we have?
And,
that we had?
and by the way, I don't know how you felt or did, but we would ask people, hey, if you're interested, go down, put your application in.
I've told people to do that.
Yeah.
I've told people.
I think this
every
is what
board.
we're trying to say. We were involved.
But we never made the recommendation, this person should be on the board.
Right. And the city commission votes on your recommendation, but the recommendation came from, a lot of times it comes from a staff
Right.
member,
It's not-
right? Like in this particular case, it came from Jason, right? So I asked that question about how many members, not being able, potentially having four, and four if you had to talk about it, but only having a staff member make the decision is all good with me. But I'm really about recommending that we have 9, right? And that we probably should always have somebody from Metro Parks, right? Like a designated seat, just like we have a designated seat for the city schools. Maybe there should be a designated seat for Erie Metro.
Like a liaison?
Yeah, that sits on it, you know, I'm the liaison for this committee, but it's almost like he's there for the schools. He represents Erie Metro, but then now we've got kind of an at-large member, and then you have 9. Then you won't, you know. So if you had a discussion about anything, right, it's not about the position of who's coming on, but then it's solved, right? That's what I'm thinking about doing, and actually taking that to the commission and saying, I think we have room for one more.
Well, it is an advisory commission. It's not like a.
Yeah, but
Some of them are designated as advisory, so I don't know if there's ever been, say, a vote that we've had to table because we had a 4-4.
Yeah, you
like-
can still bring it forward regardless of what happens, but I think it's a better look when you have a conversation about it and most of the members agreed upon it before you moved your recommendation forward.
Or I think some have, the tiebreak is the actual commission liaison makes
Yeah,
the tiebreak.
and the liaison, based upon this particular ordinance, is a non-voting member.
Right.
Right? So I'm just throwing it out there for you, because I'll do, you know, basically what I feel should be done, but, you know, if you wanted to chime in, you can, and I'll always take that into consideration, so.
So Richard, if you want us to add a person, that has got to be approved by city commission.
Yes, that's why I'm bringing it up. And I would like, and I thought about this because I was like, well, it's good to have him, Mike, on board, but maybe that should be a designated seat for Erie Metro Parks, right? And then have one more. That's just my thinking, but if you're not with it, I'm only asking the question.
I have one more before you guys close. This is directed, just to, this is directed to one person. You will know the answer. Can the pickleball courts be turned into ice skating in the wintertime?
Do they have
You're asking me?
the curbs?
Do they have the sides up? I don't know what pickleball is. I was just asked, are we gonna be able to still flood the park for ice skating?
We've had this question come, I think, at 3 out of the past 6 meetings, and I've said that we are not sure that we can flood, but
So we still don't know.
plan on having another option, and possibly at Mills, in the parking lot at Mills Golf Course, to do an ice skating rink there. But we'll always have the Jackson Street synthetic one for the time when it's basically too warm to flood the courts. We need something that's more consistent, and the ones at Whiteman Weber have not been consistent over the past several years. We've had probably 2 weeks total of skating time, I would say, out of those courts. So we'd like to have something that's much easier to maintain and much more consistent, that isn't as thick and has eyes on it, so it doesn't get vandalized and the ice gets broken, and we can't skate on it anyway. So,
Be my opinion, Chair, if I could give you my opinion, it would be a huge mistake to make pickleball courts and make them playable and then put water on them. Be a huge mistake.
Every time our pickleball courts at the Metro Parks get water on them, we tend to see cracking pretty easy, and then that's another repair. It's continuous. So I agree. That would be a big issue if we did something like that.
I know in the city, Willard, I've talked to Jason about this, they cut a block off, put barricades up, they flood it when they can, that's their ice skating ring. That's right down off Myrtle Ave. Okay, right what block it's in, it's 200
Yeah.
block. Cut it off, flood the street, they ice skate.
And maybe this is just a change in climate or whatever, but we don't have the consistent cold that we've had before and be able to just have ice without a chiller.
Too bad we can't do it with this heat.
Right, right.
I say buckle in for this winter. It's going to be a chilly one.
Ready, Tommy?
I have one more last thing. Outside of our new board member, Mike and KK, who has played dodgeball with our kids, I've consistently invited this board to come have lunch in the summer or dinner in the fall for after school with these kids. If you just pop in, some of you say, what we do over there, but you really don't if you haven't been like Mike has been and like KK has been. Walking through is good, but if these kids see the rec board or the rec liaison that shows up, they think that we care about them, besides the people that they always see. So I'm extending this invitation again for dinner at 4:30 after September 8th, Monday through Thursday. We always have dinner at 4:30. Anytime there's a break from school, our program, we eat lunch at noon. So any winter break, spring break, summer break, it's always at noon. Pop in and show these kids that the rec board cares about them. Introduce yourself to them. It means something to them. It really does.
I have one more thing. On the rec board, for E, it says Superintendent of Grounds Maintenance. I know
Yeah.
that Mike Bazarski used to always be here at the meetings, and then somehow that went away.
So that I'm not really clear on how the layout of the city org chart was at that time, but I'm also over, like, the grounds foreman reports to me, so I'm the grounds superintendent
Okay.
at this time. But we have a grounds foreman, Curtis Lofties, and Ryan oversees the golf course, so I don't know if, Ryan is part of, whether it was the Mills Creek grounds or if it was, but that could be kind of a dated part of that I can look into as far as, because I saw that too, when I was looking at the bylaws, I was like, ground superintendent, we don't have a ground superintendent right now.
No, it wasn't.
It was her.
And it also says when requested by the board.
Oh, yeah, when requested, right.
Just a quick question. Are we able to utilize this old Surf's Up property? Anything if we wanted to build something for the kids?
I mean, that might have some public trust funds that they,
When we were on that committee, you couldn't do anything with Surf's Up property unless you had something comparable
SODNR.
to give to the kids.
right, and that's something that I know we'd like to have, more at that site, but we've got so many other projects right now that we're kind of, with Schaefer and Farwell, and something's coming at Central too. Yeah, so, I'm not sure, but we would look into that before we did anything. But we also have to make sure that what it's being used for right now, with even Big Splash this weekend and then Kids Fest in May, that.
But Sherry is right. We did ask for that, but we have to give ODNR the same amount someplace else.
As part of the public trust agreement? Right, okay.
And what a great place for an adult splash pad.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I didn't say have alcohol.
Second.
Next meeting is, when is it?
September.
It's on the bottom of everyone's agenda, September 10th.
You sent out an invite, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Make a motion, we
Oh, let me,